Alrighty, this week is the week. This is when we're putting seed in the ground. And I have right here on the left, these are the seeds that I'm actually going to plant. I just went through and sorted all the seeds in order to pick out any ones that are suboptimal. And over here I have the suboptimal ones. These, as you can see, are a little red. And I don't know if that's just because they're underdeveloped or if because they're a hybrid of some sort. So just to be on the safe side, I have picked them out of the batch. And these over here are ones that are either look dried out or, like you can sort of see on these, they have what looks like a little white fungus growing on them. And I just don't want to take the risk of contaminating the soil with some sort of soil-borne disease. So I'm just gonna leave these out, put them elsewhere. So these are the seeds I'm going with. I think I ended up with about 240, 250 seeds after sorting, and that's what I'll be using to plant. I should only need 208 seeds with this plant spacing I'm going with, but it's good to have extras in case, I trip and dump a bunch of dirt or something. So on this plant spacing, what I'm going with is 4 rows. And in each row I'm going to have 13 spaces, and in each space I'm going to have 4 seeds. And those seeds are going to be arranged in a counterclockwise pattern based on seed depth decreasing. So, and this right here is the plant ID nomenclature I'm going to use. So say this plant right here, that is going to be 1-6, and then whichever one of these it is. So it would be like 16C or something like that. And that's so I can identify each plant in a codified manner. That way I'm not confused. I don't have to tag things or anything like that. Should make my job a lot easier. And the spacing I'm going to go with is rows are 6 foot apart. The spaces are going to be 18 inches apart. And the whole row itself is 18 foot long. So that should give me 13 spaces with a 3-foot buffer on either end, because the rows are actually the whole plot is 24 foot wide. And I'm going to try and leave 3 foot on either end just so the plants don't grow into the deer fence. So that's what I'm going with. Next time you see me, I should be pulling weeds in the bed because all the flat sedge came up in quite aggressively. So I'm going to have to get that out of there before I put the plants in. I was planning on planting today, March 18th, but I've pushed that back to Thursday, March 22nd, because the weather forecasts 40-degree nightly lows until Saturday. So I'm going to get the seeds in on Thursday, and then after that, I don't think it's supposed to get below 50 again. All right, back out at the Hutchinson house. I haven't put seeds in the ground yet because, as you can see, there's a whole crap ton of weeds, so I'm going to have to pull all of these before I put seeds in the ground. Well, not all of them, but most of them. Let me get in there and give you a look at these things. Alrighty. Now, as you can see, this is, for the most part, sedges. You see this little wrinkle in the leaf here? That's characteristic of most flat sedges, which these are. These are cyperus, I'm pretty sure. These are a nitrogen-fixing weed, for lack of a better term. It's an incredibly diverse genus, and they absolutely love to grow any place I till dirt and take over the place. They don't get very big. They probably only get 2 feet tall, but they're just so profuse. So I'm going to have to pull all of these and chuck them in the alley. Just the stuff up here on the top. Stuff on the sides I can leave. But I need to get this stuff out of here because it's going to pull water away from the cotton. Alrighty. That only took me 35, 40 minutes to do. On to the next 3. All of my beds have been weeded, so now I am clear to put seed in the ground. Seed sorted and ready to go. So I'll see you in now. Alright, boys and girls, it's the moment of truth. Got my Sea Island cotton seeds here, sorted and pre-measured. I've got my spacing board here, 18-inch board that tells me when I need to put in each batch of seeds. And I have this Seedinator 9000, which has pre-measured seed depths at pre-measured 2.5 inches apart. I've got 2-inch, 1-inch, half-inch, and quarter-inch. And this works pretty good on wet soil, but here in this dry sand, it does not do anything. The holes just fill in immediately. So I'm going to have to work out something else to get these seeds at appropriate depths. Okie dokie, I have 13 holes marked on every bed. I just took a bamboo stake and just drove a hole every 18 inches, so I knew everywhere I needed to put a seed. And since the Seedinator 9000 was a complete and utter failure for this site, I'm going to have to use the Seedinator 3000, my hand. The way that I'm going to do this with my finger is I've already measured it. Right here to my first joint on my index finger, that's 2 inches. Second joint to my first joint up here, that is 1 inch, to the back of my fingernail, that's half an inch, and I guess when I can't see the seed, that's going to be a 1/4 inch. So that's just going to be a light covering. So that's what we're going to go with. Since my fancy contraption doesn't do anything, we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way with my finger. Alrighty, here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. The first cotton seed planted on this property in the last 70 years. And this one is going to 2 inches. Alright. And round this out. This next one is going in at 1 inch. Next one will be a half. And that one was supposed to be a 1/4. So that one is a half, and that one will be a 1/4. There we are. First cotton seeds planted on this property in probably 70 years. Exciting. Alrighty. That is it. The entire Sea Island cotton plot for the 2019 experimental Hutchinson House planting is done. Now all we have to do is wait for the things to sprout and clean all the condensation off the lens. There we go. These are all the seeds I have left. That looks to be about maybe 30, maybe 40. You can pause the video and count. With any luck with this upcoming warm weather and expected rains, we should have a good number of seedlings sprouting here coming next Thursday. So my spacing and my depth wasn't as perfect as I was hoping. I have a very systemic issue when I'm gardening that I tend to plant seeds way too deep. I seem to be physically incapable of planting anything less than like 3/8 of an inch into the dirt. So without the Seedinator 9000 working, all the 2-inch stuff is probably closer to 1 3/4 or 1 1/2. All the 1-inch stuff's probably closer to 1 1/4. All the half-inch stuff is probably closer to 3/4, and all the 1/4-inch stuff is probably closer to half an inch. So that's going to skew my results. I'll have to represent that in the data somehow. But I've got a large enough sample size. This is going to be 26 plants at each depth irrigated, and this is going to be 26 plants at each depth not irrigated. This stuff in the center is fertilized, and that will make a difference on germination. It's soil moisture and ambient temperature that determines when this stuff is going to germinate. So we shall see. This is extremely dry soil, so I expect this might take 2 weeks to germinate unless we get a deluge. like predicted, next couple of weeks, some overcast, warm weather, and just heavy soil moisture should be perfect for getting these things to germinate. And then as long as we can get some April showers for the first month, that should allow the cotton to establish its taproot thoroughly, and then it's smooth sailing from there. This stuff is extremely drought tolerant. It actually hates heavy rainfall. So that's what I'm banking on. Early rains and drought throughout. And these 2 rows are going to be irrigated as needed, probably not more than an inch a week. And we are going to be putting in a driven sandpoint well tomorrow. Probably there, on that corner. Maybe there, probably there. I don't know, maybe back there. Somewhere on this side. Preferably near the entrance, but we might put it closer to the fence so that when we move this plot, we don't have to immediately move the well. We'll see. Time out. The bumblebees seem to be having an issue with this deer fence, so I guess in the future I'm going to have to go to a wider netting. Actually, in the future I'm probably going to be doing a lot more acreage, and it's not going to be as experimental. So hopefully then I won't even need a deer fence. And there they go.